don't just be a roofing contractor. I mean, that's like the first thing that I teach.
People that let off the gas right now, they're not going to be getting the calls.
I actually told my father, I said, dude, we are way too smart to have tool belts on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Roofer2Roofer show. As always, my name is Allie, and I am the host of the pod. We have John from Steadfast Roofing, Carney from CR3, and Scott from Rainstoppers, ready and willing to ask any and all questions that you guys might have. So please feel free to pop them into that Q&A. We are excited to have you and ready to go. I'll kind of pop through my list here. First question, how do you stand out when a homeowner is getting multiple bids?
You're the best at it, John. Do it.
Okay. So it's very rare that you run into somebody that isn't getting multiple bids. Number one, it's like, I can't remember the last time we ran into that, but we have had plenty of people tell us, well, I'm going to cancel those other ones because like the job that we do in educating and presenting and showing them exactly how we're going to do their roof. And like, if they don't pick us then and there, they're going to have, the next couple of contractors are going to have some really, really big shoes to fill, and like that's how we want to leave it. But then in regard to the follow-ups and things, I mean, Chuck Doki, he says it really, really good. And I'm not going to be able to replicate what he does exactly, but I mean, he always asks the question, like, what are you looking for in these other bids? Like, let's pretend for a moment that all three of the bids that you're going to get are the exact same price. Would you trust us to actually install your roof? And, and then we get down to like the real objection in regard to what has them looking at other quotes and things. And, it's always just the price. Like, that's all that it ever really boils down to. So that's all that I'll really chip in on that one. But anybody that needs help with that, check out some of Chuck Toki's videos. The guy is an absolute beast. We'll just say that.
For me, it's all about like figuring out what your unique differentiators are that help you to separate yourself from your competitor. All of us are, this is a commodity business. Like, we're all selling the same product. We're all selling the same warranties for the most part, especially once you graduate to a certain level. I see Scott has President's Club in the corner. That means me and Scott can install the same product with the same exact warranty, with the same exact workmanship and product coverage, right? So what makes me and Scott any different from one another? So every single company has their own unique key differentiators. They just got to dig deep enough to figure out what they are that help them to separate themselves from a competitor. And then those differentiators have to mean something to a customer. They don't care about certain differentiators. They only care about the ones that affect them, right? Maybe it's process driven. Maybe it's an extended warranty. Um, Maybe it's just educating them. It sounds like this is what John is really good at, is educating them in a way that's different from others in the marketplace. So we always train our people to don't get so caught up in understanding the system. Like let's just say it's asphalt shingles. Don't get so caught up in understanding every minute detail of that entire system. Focus on like one or two little things that and know really well, that you can educate the customer on better than anybody else in the marketplace. And then just go all in on that. We talk about granulars a lot. Like, a lot of people don't want to nerd out on granulars, but that's something that we like to talk about. Weep holes. There's a ton of people that don't even know that shingles have weep holes for drainage and on the underside of them. So I taught some of the manufacturers about that, and we like to train our people to just go all in on one or two little specific things and educate the customer. Because if anybody came in before or after us, they're going to have a hard time talking about weep holes when they've never been trained on them before, when we're talking about an asphalt shingle replacement. So figure out what those key differentiators are, and then find one or two little, we call them zingers, to really go all in on and educate the customer better than anybody else in the marketplace.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Spot?
Yeah, I think that they pretty much hit it all. I mean, obviously, Carney's exactly right, and a lot of people will tell you this is not a commodity business, and they're wrong because I mean, we're basically selling the same thing. There's plenty of good contractors, and there's plenty of really, really bad ones. There's probably a lot more really bad ones than there are good ones, but the biggest thing is being able to prove why you are one of the good guys. So, because the product's the same, the installation goes the same. I think for us, a big one that we push is reputation. So, um, the amount of projects that we do, and then and small of a community as we do them in, we almost can guarantee we've roofed a friend of theirs house, their neighbor, their cousins, and we take advantage of that reputation, even if they had a leak, like even if or there was something that went wrong during the project, we actually try to highlight those because we're so fast to come back to them that nobody can really beat what we do. I give my guys 24 hours. We get one if we get a phone call that's a call back for a warranty or a problem, we've got 24 hours to either fix it or at minimum go there and come up with a plan to fix it. So we highlight those. Yeah, we don't claim to be perfect. Nobody can be. So what we do claim is an excellent response rate. So yeah, just really utilizing our referrals and our relationships from the past.
Scott, I have a question.
I know it.
What did it feel like to get your ass whooped by John Starry?
Here we are.
told
Here we
him.
are.
You had to. You had to do it, Carney.
Carney, if you don't cut it out, you're next, buddy.
That's a threat.
Anyway, yeah, let's hear one of these zingers, Carney.
The zingers?
Mhm.
Nah, man, you gotta pay me a lot of money to hear one of them zingers.
Oh man.
You want to convert Steadfast into a CR3? I'll give you all my zingers.
Wow, quite the offer.
We're good.
We'll give John some time to think about it. We don't want to have him make a decision in a rush. So in the meantime, we did have a question pop in on the Q&A here. Do you ever lower your price to win bids? I think I know what you guys are going to say. Get after it.
I've kind of answered this before in a way, but not the exact same question. So the answer is yes, but I don't negotiate. So the price we give is the price we stand by. That's just really how we feel. And actually, I think I remember kind of how I said this before, not to just copy and paste, but the key for us is we looked back, and many times that we offered or negotiated after the original bid, those were a high percentage of problem customers. And I mean, we nailed that down. We are for sure that was the case. So we just quit doing it. Now, with that said, if we go into a situation that we know, for instance, we did a commercial project, we kind of knew where we had to be on price to win the job. Not that we were just given a bid price to earn it, but we kind of had a good idea. And it was a little bit lower than where we would typically want to be, but it was a nice project. It was bigger project. We can take a little lower margin and still hit the numbers that we want to hit on it. So yeah, we dropped our price just a little bit to get into that price range that we felt we had to be to win. So we don't negotiate, but we will absolutely budge our pricing some if that's what we think it's going to take to win the bid.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely answered this one before, but I normally don't change my pricing up, but it's been a little slow here lately. We're throwing some incentives out there to kind of entice some people to get signed up here. So need to get some jobs on the board. So in an effort to do that, like we've been trying to like kind of Oh no.
Did you run like a Black Friday sale or something, or what kind of incentives do you use?
Something like basically, I mean, it's just a end of year sale, so um we're knocking like two margin points off of quotes if I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Franklin just told me that something happened to his truck. So
I'll jump in. I got you, John. John, don't worry about it, buddy. And for me and for our team, and we have already talked about this, but this is good because it comes up all the time. For me and our team, I like it's a case by case thing for us. Is like if we feel like, for instance, this person might own a real estate portfolio and have $100 million worth of real estate. I will gladly give that person a hell of a deal if they're going to help me to get into that portfolio to help to service it, right? So it's not a black and white answer for us. It's how much value, because every customer has an amount of value that they bring you besides the dollar amount, in my opinion. So if I see repeat business, maybe it's in a good community or a good neighborhood, and they're the president of the HOA community, well, I'd probably like to win that business. So I'd like to figure out exactly what it takes to win that business because I want to give them a wow experience, and then I want to get the rest of the neighbors. So um, to me, it's a case by case thing. It's one of those hard things in business that, like, especially when you're sending sales consultants out, you want like a hard and fast, and we all want to be that stern person that's like, don't negotiate, never split the difference, blah blah blah. But I think it all needs to be treated on a case by case and a value basis to figure out, is this person worth giving them a discounted price on. To Scott's point, a lot of the people, and as you start to do this over and over and you run through a few thousand projects, you'll identify those people pretty quick that are not, they don't bring a tremendous amount of value and they're still negotiating at the table. Those are the people you may not want to make concessions with. But if, like, I'm going to negotiate with you, if you're coming in and I want to hire you for HVAC and plumbing, I'm negotiating with you. We renovated this house that I'm in and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. And I negotiated with everybody. So I'd be very ignorant to think that people aren't going to do that to me. Right. I think it's a part of the process. I think it's human nature. And you got to see how much value is in the other person that you're trying to help out.
John was getting to a really good point there, and I'll finish it for him because I know exactly where he's at because we dealt with it last year really, really bad. So the whole game in business is managing your backlog. So when you have no backlog, you have to get your price down to build a backlog. 5% of something is better than 0% of nothing. So you have to, there is a management factor there that you have to play with. And the busier you get, our margins go up. So if we've got a 5-week backlog, we increase our margins until we see that backlog come back down to 3.5 weeks. Then we'll kind of hold it steady somewhere. And then if it gets below that, then we'll start dropping our margins a little bit. So the busier you are, the price goes up. The least busy you are, the price goes down. You just kind of play that game to keep your backlog where you want it.
Yeah.
yeah, I like to kind of keep things booked about a month out. Whenever we dip below that, which we were, I get pretty damn worried. So
Here's how roofers make it home for dinner every single night without losing a single sale, even when they're one-man shows. Automate your communication with ProLine, the only communication-first CRM for roofers. Because when you fix your communication, you'll sell more jobs. Your weekends will smell more like sunscreen and backyard barbecues than that crappy gas station coffee. And all you got to do is ask these roofers.
Where we had about 200% growth, and I attribute that to incorporating ProLine.
But just with one automation, I was able to get 25 Google reviews.
It's been absolutely insane how quickly we were able to grow. Now, ProLine's not going to win the beauty pageant, but it will save your Saturday. Now, back to the show.
How do you guys kind of prepare your sales team for that busy season? And then on the flip side, I'd be curious to know how you help prepare them for the slow season.
We let them loaf in the winter. That way they're ready for spring. And they're starving to death. They want to go be savages and go sell a bunch of roofs. So my guys, I've actually worked with all my guys, pretty much all my guys at this point, on money management. That's something, you know, I've spent a lot of time. Yeah, my guys have the main group of guys that I have in sales have been with me for multiple years. So they've been through the cycle more than once. Actually, some of them going on 9 and 10 times now. So they understand the cycle. They understand, you know, it's going to be slow. And so I've spent time and we've got a financial advisor that we use for the company that spends time with them, really helping them manage their cash. And that way they understand what they have for the winter and what they can't blow in the summer. That way they can live a really, really comfortable life year round. Um, I know that's not necessarily the point of the question, but I think it's a huge factor. I think you have to do that because if not, you're going to lose your sale. You know, guys like me and Carney up north, sales reps are going to starve in the winter. So, you know, or at least it's not going to be the feast it was in April through September. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing to prepare for the winter, but preparing for the busy season, it's almost just the opposite. It's you know, letting them know, hey, it's about to hit. There's you need to make sure that you've got a wide open schedule here for the next couple months because it's going to be slammed. And these guys get it. They want it. I mean, yeah, sales reps have to have some sort of entrepreneurial spirit, I believe, to where they understand that they got skin in the game and they got to go hustle and grind to get paid. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I literally just had this conversation before we got on here. Like, that's why I was 3 or 4 minutes late. There's a few different like tactical things without sharing all my trade secrets that can be done for these guys. And one of them that we've figured out over the years is how you pay them, like your pay structure. So you can do different unique things with how you compensate these sales guys. And that can help to stretch out when they get paid and how they get paid, which will help. I don't know about Scott's environment, but where I'm at in the Northeast and I'm in South Pennsylvania, it's like 45 days of really shitty weather, and then the rest of it's okay. So as long as we can bridge that gap with them signing contracts, them closing out projects, and depending on what our commission draw schedule looks like, a lot of these guys really don't skip a beat in terms of like a weekly paycheck, and then spring hits and they're off to the races. So I like it. I like the seasonality of it. It's a great time to clean things up, clean up that backlog, get all those outstanding balances, and get that accounts receivable way down to go ahead and kick it into the spring. So pay structure is one thing that I would look at that can help a lot. Diversification. Don't just be a roofing contractor. I mean, that's like the first thing that I teach is being a roofing contractor. There's seasonality to it. It's commoditized. It's becoming lower and lower margins. So it's really hard to stand out as just a standalone roofing contractor. So diversify, look at windows, look at siding, obviously gutters, decking is something that we've been dabbling with quite a bit as well, resurface and decks. And then the last little note that I made is educate your customers. So what we're pushing really hard is even if you are in an inclement climate type area, you can still sell projects. There's no reason that you can't. So educating the customer to let them know that nothing good happens in our industry by waiting. Every day that goes by, every week, every month, your problems are only going to get bigger. And I don't know about these gentlemen on the phone, but historically, the last 8 years I've been doing this, I've seen at least 2 to 3 price increases every single year. And usually one hits right in the spring, early summer. So if you know that you need a roof, or you know that you need siding, or you know that you need windows because all the flaws are coming out in the wintertime, let's go ahead and let's lock this in, even though now is not an ideal time to do it. Because if I can lock this in, I can allocate the materials properly with distribution. We don't have to worry about a price increase happening. So those are my 3 little notes that I jotted down.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Looks like we did have a couple questions. Do you have something to add, John?
He said move to Florida.
No, everything that could go wrong here today has been. So it's
Oh,
been fun.
sorry to hear that. That boss hat's getting heavy, isn't it?
I'll listen. All right. What we got?
In my first year of business, which option is more worth my time? A. Install all the roofs myself to maintain high quality and maximize net profit per job. Or B. Run around and sell as many jobs as I can and sub out the work so that I can focus solely on sales.
I mean, B. It depends on your workload, obviously. I mean, if you're only selling one job a week, I'd still go B because you can spend the time door knocking the neighborhood around that job site, uh, going to Chamber of Commerce events in your neighborhoods and your towns, um, doing all the little things right, networking with anybody you can possibly network with. You got other, finding referral partners, HVAC companies, plumbing companies, anybody that you can become friends with and network with and pass business their way. They pass business your way. It's a beautiful thing. Realtors are a little bit different, but there is definitely a way to make great relationships there that have value. Obviously, insurance companies and agents, that's a great place to be too. But yeah, I mean, the goal is to sell and hit margins. Um, Obviously, if you're installing the roof, your margin's going to be way higher, and that's a great thing. But at the same time, if you're already getting some projects on the books and have the ability to go do them, put someone on them and double and triple up on that business from those existing projects.
So I can relate to whoever said that question because as I was younger, coming up in the construction industry, me and my father had tool belts on, and we were banging nails, like we were framing houses, doing trim carpentry, you can name it. We were doing it. We were doing it all ourselves. And I actually told my father, I said, dude, we are way too smart to have tool belts on because we're sitting here and yeah, we're producing a good result for the customer, but we ain't making no more money by being here right now. So the great thing about the exterior space, which is what drove me to get out of new homes and even large remodels, is we're not in people's houses. We can trust people a little bit more to go up on a roof, execute a job because they're not going into people's personal space for the most part. They're not going where people's loved ones are and the personal belongings where we have to fear stuff like that happening. So, um, obviously it depends on what this person's interested in. There's plenty of people who wear a tool belt and I like it. I like the mindless work of having a tool belt on. It's great for me once in a while. But if your goal is to scale and grow something really, really big, you can't do all of the work. And fortunately in our industry, we have one of the only industries, and I don't think it's talked about enough, where you can build $1 million business in less than 12 months, which there's a lot of businesses. I mean, retail, there's think about like all the stores that you drive past when you're driving down the road and all these mom and pop stores. And these are entrepreneurs that wake up and go to bed and punch in early to build a business. And most of them will never break $1 million. If you chat GBT, how many businesses do over $1 million in revenue? It's very little. We are one of the only industries that exist on planet Earth where almost everybody does over $1 million. And the reason that is because it's so damn scalable, because we can sell a system and hire a sub crew to put it on. As long as that we can manage them and they do a good job, we can build $1 million business in 6 to 8 months. And it's one of the only industries that I'm aware of that you can do that and do it repetitively over and over and over again. So I'm with option B.
I mean, I would answer that in the way that, I mean, what's more important to you right now? I mean, do you want to grow and scale, or do you actually enjoy the work that comes along with that, and you just want to, do a job a week or it all really, that answer really all depends on what you want out of the whole thing. I mean, I know that it, I don't want to be doing this stuff. I'd much rather be like, kissing hands and shaking babies. And yeah, I know I said that backwards. It was intentional, but I don't want to be up on a roof doing this crap. I mean, it's not what I truly enjoy. So, I mean, if being on a roof is what you truly enjoy and you're not looking to like grow and scale and things, like by all means, how about I go with option A? If you do want to grow and scale and kind of like try to create something bigger and better, go with option B. Or if it's somewhere in between, I mean, maybe you need to introduce option C too, you know?
I love that, guys. That was really helpful. Good question. All right, we did have another one come in. Based on your experience working with diverse roofing crews, have you noticed any differences in work style, technique, or overall performance among workers from different culture or national backgrounds?
Yeah. The I'm gonna let Scott answer first. And I'm going. I want to see how far he's going. He's gonna take this one.
I think I've kind of explained this to you guys before. White guys suck, man. They're all crackheads. So, um, it, that's just what it is. Because there is, at least where I'm at, the amount of white fellas that say they're roofers or say that they even do home services, like home construction type work, that can pass a drug test is almost zero. Like it's literally almost zero. And I'm not talking about guys that just enjoy smoking weed on the weekends. I'm talking pill heads, crackheads. I mean, guys just not real high quality people that you want on your job sites. Um, for me, I use Latino labor, um, and it has nothing to do with price. I actually pay them more than I paid my white guys in the past. I know that white guys is not a nationality, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, we got that black eye, dude,
Yeah.
walking around saying stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I pay them more, but they're worth more. They do probably at least twice the amount of productivity at a much higher skill level. Yeah, it's just a no-brainer. I mean, their quality of work, and that's where, I live near the Amish communities, in Ohio. So Amish is actually one of our big competitors. I've been on many, many Amish roofs. I can promise you the quality of the Latino guys that work for me, they do a better job, period. Like, everybody feels like Amish quality is as good as it gets. That's just not the case. These guys take so much pride in their work. They work so freaking hard. They'll start their mornings at 7, and it's literally daylight to dark. If the sun is shining and they can work, they want to work. If they work 6 days a week, they want set day 7 off. That's the deal. But other than that, there's no babysitting. They'll do whatever it takes to get the job done, do it right. If there's issues, they're quick to go back. Find a white boy that'll screw up a roof. You can find that. Find one that'll go back. They're just no. They got paid and they went and bought drugs, so they're not coming back. Is that the answer you're looking for?
I mean, I would definitely see the same sort of thing, man. Like all the white guys that I've run into have had substance abuse issues for sure, and they can't be counted on. I mean, and that's an unfortunate thing to say, but I mean, it is the reality of the whole thing. I brought them on. They get paid. They go on a bender, and you don't hear from them again for another week, and it's just like, well, I can't have that. Like I need people I can rely on, and but there's the same show to Scott. I use Latino labor for sure, and Latina labor. I got some ladies up there.
Yeah, and here's the second part to that. The very select few white guys or girls that are clean, have a good head on their shoulders, have good work ethic, care about what they do, they become business owners. They don't keep working for someone else. I worked for someone else for a very short period and realized for about $5,000 I can just go do this myself. And don't get me wrong, it's not that easy. Like, don't get this twisted. It's way harder than that, way harder than I ever expected it would be. But if you're driven, you'll get there. You'll get to the other side where there is success, and you'll take that chance yourself. You're not going to continue working for somebody else. That's just I believe culturally, that's just our nature. And if you've got it together, you're going to take that risk.
What I've noticed is Central America rules roofing and the Koreans rule siding for whatever reason. And I would say the Guatemalans do probably the best work that I've seen when it comes to roofing. I don't know what John and Scott have seen. For whatever reason, it just seems like the Guatemalans do a better job.
And what about the guy in your lap? What's his strong suit?
This is a girl, and she's emotional support, and I'm trying to keep her from barking at my other dog.
She's adorable. She should be on the panel every week, honestly. We need a little more feminine energy in here.
Consider it done.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks for the questions, guys. We have a couple more rolling in here. We love to answer the questions live. So much more fun than me coming up with something. So thank you. We have another one in.
Way more
We are in
exciting too.
what?
Way more exciting too.
Way more exciting. I'm so boring.
And
Way more. We are in Florida and business has been slow. What methods do you recommend to jumpstart sales? Lead gen, meta ads, Google ads? Do our best to knock more doors?
I'm interested to hear how Scott and Carney respond.
We have one Florida contractor. Me and Carney shouldn't answer this.
Yeah.
This is a
Oh.
fun question.
Yeah.
No, it's been slow. I mean, Jason Reisman was just on a podcast the other day, and it's just what we're all kind of dealing with, and it's not just a Florida thing; it's a nationwide thing, from my understanding. Roofing's down significantly from where it was last year, but in times like this, I mean, you can't let off the gas. Everybody sees like leads dropping off, and they think like, oh my gosh, I need to reel back my marketing. I need to figure this out. No, like you need to like keep on the throttle and like power through this thing, just like, because the people that let off the gas right now, they're not going to be getting the calls, whenever things do pick back up. So you need to stay in front of as many people as you possibly can. But on top of that, I mean, like there's a lot that you can be doing with your current customer base as well. If you're not sending out newsletters every month, I know Scott does awesome newsletters and stuff, and he just keeps people in his pipeline that way. And the benefit there is like, that is kind of reminding them like, hey, we're still here. If you know anybody that we could potentially help with their roof, like here we are, we're still around, I've really kind of turned up my efforts with referrals and things though too. I've gotten every single one of my sales reps into BNIs or networking groups of some sort. Those have been great as far as us digging up leads from like sources that you can't find digitally, right? But in addition to that, I mean, lean in on like your existing customer base. And what I mean by that is, I've spruced up our referral automations. I've basically started asking for referrals a lot more often in a lot of these automations and things. And I'm not just talking about like after the job is done and over with. I'm talking about like from the very start, like from the inspection. Hey, when we're in the neighborhood, if you know of a neighbor or a friend or anything that lives nearby that is in the same sort of boat as you with their roof, like we'd love to take a look while we're there in the area. Sending out new referral gifts. Like we've been using these things called shingle tombs. If you haven't seen them, check them out. I don't know if I'm going to continue using them or not, but it's just a way to kind of keep our name out in front of people. But communicate with your existing customer base, really lean on referrals, try to, figure out gaps that you guys may have in your referral process and things, and don't let off the gas on the digital marketing front. The Google, the meta ads, like all that stuff, like they're all really, really important right now. But lean on some of those other things that, you can't pay for. That's just going to take a little bit of elbow grease to kind of like get out in front of people. That's all I would say. Carney, Scott, do you have anything additional to add there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to John's point, control what you can control. Like you can't control the interest rates, you can't control who the president is, you can't control the war that's going on overseas, you can't control the cost of asphalt. Like control what you can control. And if you're slower, that could be a really good thing because that means that you have extra time to focus on other things. I talked about it earlier. Diversify your portfolio. Stop just offering roofs. Start offering siding. Start offering windows. Stop offering just residential roofs. Look at how you can break into the commercial space. Stop offering just re-roofs. Look at how you can offer services to builders and get into new construction. New construction typically doesn't care. If weather sucks, they're gonna keep putting roofs on. They have to. They have to close everything up so the mechanical guys can get in there. Large commercial real estate developers, commercial and residential, sometimes they go in tandem, sometimes they don't. So diversify your portfolio, focus on other things, and that slower period of time is a time to double down on other things while you're still running your marketing, you're still reinvesting where your meat and potatoes is, but go find something else. Go find another avenue to generate revenue for your business that you normally don't have the time for because you're busy. Well, now you have the time. Congratulations. Go get back to work.
Absolutely. That was really helpful, guys. Another one popped in here. Do you foresee advancements in roofing technology that will one day allow crews to safely work during nighttime hours or in weather conditions that currently prevent installation? Or do you believe the roofing industry will always remain primarily dawn to dusk profession due to safety and material limitations?
We've worked at night before. Um, not a ton, but we've done it at night before. We just rent a light plant, put a tower up in the air, and put the roof on. We've done some doctors' offices and different things where they will not allow us to work there during daylight hours. So we do it. We've done some at night. I don't think it'll ever go to that as like I think it should. I think like in the South, like Texas, Florida. I mean, I spend a lot of time in Florida, and obviously John lives there. My God, it's hot in the summertime. Like I don't know how those guys do it. I don't know how they can like physically do it as far as not destroying the shingles, walking on them. I mean, it gets hot enough up here 3 months out of the year that come 2 o'clock, the shingles, you can't walk on them without damaging them. So I don't even know how they do it. But regardless, um, the problem is the noise. You're again, Florida, where we're probably thinking this primarily would be ideal. The houses are stacked upon each other all the way down the street. I mean, nobody's going to want you roofing, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I don't see it ever becoming a, normalized type thing. I think it's just very select, like the couple of situations I've talked about, but that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. The big thing there is we could come up with all the technology in the world, but noise complaints they're gonna be a problem. And who wants their roof work done at 2 o'clock in the morning while they're trying to sleep? So I don't really see it being a thing. But one thing that it's not what the question is, but what I used to do in South Carolina, Scott, is we'd work till about noon, and then we take a super long lunch until like 4:30 in the summertime because it gets dark at 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then we just roof the second half of the day. So we'd still get in a full 10 hours or so, but there'd be like 3 or 4 hours when it's like super freaking hot, where we just take a long lunch and grab some shade and just kind of hang out versus trying to work through it because it's so you can't even walk on them. To your point, you step on them and the granulars are moving underneath your feet.
Makes sense to me. We did have another one come through here. How do you find your good Latino crews in the Midwest? I'm in North Idaho and we don't have many Latinos in our area. I've heard of people bringing in people on work visas, etc. Any experience with that? I've used crews from 1.5 to 2 hours away, but that comes with its own set of challenges.
We've had very good luck with this, and I live in at one point I read there was a statistic. The area I live is the most non-diverse part of the country. So, um, not a lot of Latino folks running around. We just utilize Facebook. There's like, I think what's it called? Roofing subcontractors and more, or something. There's literally pages on Facebook that you can join, and that's where these guys live to find business. We needed a crew in Morgantown. The crew we were using just wasn't working out. We threw a post on that page, and there's a couple pages that we've done this with. We had 20 people inquire about it. We found one crew that wasn't too far away that was willing to relocate. The key to this is having a backlog and being able to say, look, if you come, you do me a fine job, here's the price we agree on. We both are good with the price. I've got 30 jobs for you, and I'll give you all of my work, but you have to be here every day. That's how we handle it. And we had a crew down in Charleston, West Virginia. They relocated, I think it was 12 guys. We helped them find housing. They took care of all of it. We just, searched it for them. But they moved from New Jersey to Charleston, West Virginia. And they've been there for 4 years now. Simply off of a Facebook post, and we showed them our backlog. We kind of had some conversation and made a deal, and it's been a fantastic relationship, and we love them and they love us.
That's awesome. Nobody else?
We don't have any shortage of Latino labor down here.
We sure do not.
We have a location in like way up northern Michigan that struggles with this same issue, but like they don't have any major cities near them, and it's a destination, like a vacation destination. So they struggle with that. But to Scott's point, and I've done this as well, where I took people from New Jersey all the way down to North Carolina because I didn't like the way the crews operated in North Carolina. They didn't move fast enough for me. And I had enough work that they would get in their vehicle, they would come down, they would rent a house for a week. We'd do 5 to 10 installs a week, and they'd go back north for the weekend, and I'd see them right back there in the morning on Monday. So if you can generate the work, like it's like that old saying, if you build it, they will come. That holds very, very true. But another more tactical thing is there's companies that this is all that they do. One of the real good ones, we have a pretty good relationship with them. It's a company called Tool Belt. We call it the Tinder for contractors, and it's a place where you can post a job and you can talk about some details. And their whole platform is a hiring platform for general contractors and subcontractors to connect and meet and strike long-term relationships. So that may be something that you want to explore. There's a ton of different resources out there, and just even talking to distributors, manufacturers, other contractors in the area. Once you get integrated with these people, it's almost hard not to find crews. And as you start to do more work, naturally they start to come looking for you as well. So ton of different things that you can do besides just accepting the fact that there's not a high Latino population in your area.
It's another thing Scott did to get a black eye, man. He was walking around saying these people just
Wow.
took them out.
Got one black eye. I can't have multiple reasons for the one.
That's true. That's actually a really good point, Scott. We got to come up with one and kind of stick with it. I love that. All right, another one in here. Let's say a subcontractor is completing a re-roof for you and they accidentally drop a ladder and damage the neighbor's siding. How do you handle this situation? Would you back charge the sub for the fix or for cost to fix the damage, or would you eat the cost if it's a small amount?
We back charge. Now I say that we pay, we have an agreement. Okay. So this came up with kind of an interesting story. This came up the last couple weeks. We have a big standing seam project that needs to go on, and it needs to go on like ASAP, but our weather's been just terrible. We have, and we need 3 dry days to put it on. And if you've done standing seam before, it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit trickier to dry in part way. Like it's not as easy to dry in as a shingle job. There's just more to it. And it's even when you do it right, you're still taking chances. So because of the agreement that we have with our crews, the crew that we basically give all of our standing seam work to said, look, I'm not touching it until we've got 3 good days. And that's the call he made. And we accept that call, and we understand that, because when the time comes that roof gets, or the inside the home gets wet, he's going to pay the cost to make those repairs if that happens. I mean, if it's something minimal, I have a couple guys on staff that can go make repairs that they're really high level handymen, is what I would say. So like, they can make some siding repairs. We've damaged decking railing before. They went and replaced some like Trex deck railing before. I'm not back charging them guys for that, because that's kind of why I have them on staff, is just to help where needed. But if it's something where I've got to pay another contractor to go do something, we're going back charge for it. That's the beauty of subs. They are to take responsibility for their actions. That is part of. And if you don't run it that way, to be honest with you, they're not a subcontractor. They're an employee. So that's why they have insurance. That's why they have workers' comp. If they fall off the roof, their workers' comp covers it. If they damage personal property somewhere else, their insurance should cover it if they're not willing to. Like, that is why they're a subcontractor, and you have a subcontract agreement for every single project that you do for that reason.
Yeah, I would agree with just a very small asterisk there, which is like, if they're a really good crew and it's just like an accident, like shit happens, right? So, I we try to use our better judgment to like not just nickel and, like, for instance, they rip a screen and we have screen repair kits in almost all of our trucks, and all of our guys are trained to be able to repair them real quickly. Like, am I really going to back charge you because you accidentally dropped a shingle and it put a small rip in a screen, even though you do phenomenal work for me? Um, I think I do agree with Scott, and then there's a small asterisk there. Like, if it's minor stuff and they normally do a great job of taking care of stuff, why nickel and dime those guys? They bust their butt. You don't want them nickel and diming you when they have one little small thing that you ask them to do, and they say, "Scott, that's more money." So, there's a level there of like, hey, this is something that we're definitely have to back charge for, and then there's, hey, we'll just go ahead, take care of it because it's minor. So I think you just got to use your better judgment for that.
Yeah, I would agree with everything these guys said. Like the onesie twosie stuff, like these guys work harder than any of us really do, you know? At least physically. Um, if it's just minor stuff and it's not like a pattern sort of behavior, just get it fixed and, just tell them be careful next time. If it continues to happen, you should definitely be having a different conversation though.
So like Franklin's truck, or like not like Franklin's truck?
Franklin, I think he needs to drive that thing with a helmet on half the time.
Well, that's a solution, I love it. Couple more here before we end for the day. When pricing roofing projects, is it realistic to establish a consistent profit margin that you actually apply across most jobs? Or do you find that margins naturally fluctuate case by case due to differences in labor complexity, material costs, and job site conditions?
We have a baseline for all of our projects, 35% gross profit. I mean, it's not a secret. That's where we start. That's kind of that's what we would consider our market standard. That's what we do every time. But like I said before, if we know we need to win the job, or if our backlog's getting a little bit skimpy looking, we're going to go down closer to that 30% mark. If our backlog's, extended way out, we're going to get up closer to that 40% mark. And we just kind of play in that 10% range, 30 to 40% somewhere. And there's other factors, Carney and John all kind of touched on different factors that can adjust that. But yeah, that's every quote that we build in ProLine starts at 35%.
What was the first vehicle you had in your company?
Oh man. I had a Sierra 1500 was my first one.
I thought you were going to say the Tesla.
I was waiting for like a Mini Cooper or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a company vehicle, but I don't ever drive that thing. That's my wife's. But now we have a pretty cool van that has a super cool alligator wrap on it.
That thing is sweet.
Yeah.
I started in a 2001 F-150 extended cab with the freaking bed rotten out of it. Complete pile of trash. And I actually ran that truck. On Marketplace, I found a cheap utility cap for the bed that had like the toolboxes in the side and a ladder rack on top. And I put it on there and I ran that truck for like 2 years. And I made more money in that truck than most people make in 10 years. I had $2,000 in it. I had $2,000 in that truck. So um it's not all about what you drive. It's about how you get it done. So mind you, now nobody in my company even drives anything that's more than like 4 years old. So times are a little different now, but getting started, it was a grind. It was a hustle, and it didn't make sense to spend 30 grand on a vehicle.
I have kind of a rags to riches story. I was driving around in a jacked up, all murdered out, nice black Ford, and it was a pretty truck. And then I started the business and realized that I was spending way too much money on fuel, and I'd rather have something that got me from point A to point B. And honestly, I needed the extra money to invest in the business. So I sold it and I bought a brand new Ford Focus, and I got a little giant that I put in the back of it. And I couldn't even fit it in the back. I had to take one of the seats and fold it down and then slide it in there. Um, and I spent 3 grand on a wrap, like full wrap on it. And I drove that around for, I don't even know, probably 6 months, getting the business off the ground running. And it was a sad day. We actually just sold it here recently because my bookkeeper inherited it like shortly after that. But yeah, I didn't have to, but I made the decision that I was going to sell my truck because I wanted to save money on insurance, fuel, and vehicle payments so that I could put every dollar back into the company. And I think it paid off a little bit. So my first actual vehicle was a Ford Focus.
And you just bought a new Ford Focus, right? Like just a couple weeks ago?
No more Ford Focuses in my life. Hopefully not.
Fair enough. I was just checking. Fair enough. All right, last question, and then we will end it here. Do you have separate crews for shingle versus metal that specialize in one or the other? Or are there a lot of crews that are set up to do all types of roofing? The one shingle crew I was using, I wouldn't want anywhere near a standing seam roof. But then again, that's a crew I don't think I'll be using in the future. What do you guys think?
I have crews that do both. My standing seam, the crew that I was talking about, the standing seam, they're a fantastic shingle crew as well. There's not a lot of standing seam roofs that get put on around here, but they're extremely talented at it. We do a lot of ag panel, which is like your 5 rib metal, your standard screw down corrugated panel. We have 2 shingle crews that I don't let on metal roofs. And they'll tell you they don't do them. Like they're just not good at them. But then we have 4 other crews that can do that or shingles, and they do both of them extremely well. So it's really just depends on the crew themselves.
Yeah, I have crews that do shingle and tile. I have crews that do shingle and metal. I have crews that just do shingle. But believe it or not, like I actually subcontract most of my metal installations just because I want to keep my main crews on, our bread and butter, which is, it's going to be tile and shingle. So
Most of my crews do not dabble. Most of them are like very specific, like you do this and you do that and you do this. I have very little crossover where they do multiple different systems. Now, what I will tell you though is standing seam guys can typically do asphalt shingles just because they're good with standing seams, so they definitely can put down shingles. But most of the guys that we use that do standing seam, they're usually just doing standing seam all day, every day. So my crews typically don't dabble a whole lot.
Makes sense to me. Let me just double check. I don't think we have any other questions coming in here today. So I'm comfortable ending it there if you guys are.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. As always, it's lovely getting to chat with you guys on Mondays to talk about all things big or small. For our participants, we'll be back here on Monday at 4:30 doing the same thing. So prepare, think of anything you want to ask, and we'll be right back here at 4:30 to do it all. Oop, we got one more. Oh, thank you. You're welcome, Alex. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great Monday, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a good week.
Bye, y'all.